All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. We're going to be exploring how the everyday trades you make, from swapping lunchbox snacks to trading your absolute favorite collectible cards, are actually deeply, deeply important. Now, you might think a simple trade on the playground is no big deal, right? But the source material we're looking at today, which is titled God Concerned with Every Transaction, reveals something completely fascinating. It tells us that these everyday, super normal moments of exchange matter a whole lot more than we might realize.
To hook you right away, I want you to think about a time you made a trade and just felt totally ripped off. Maybe you traded a super rare holographic card for one that looked shiny but was actually super common. Or, oh man, maybe you swapped half your amazing sandwich for a cookie that turned out to be mostly raisins instead of chocolate chips. Oof, it stings, right? Well, it turns out the eternal guardian of justice actually cares about that very moment. Today, we're going to see exactly why fairness matters so much and who is always watching out to make sure things stay fair.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the art of trading, from ancient markets to the playground.
Our source text, drawing from Proverbs chapter 11, points out this really massive lesson. The rules of a good trade literally haven't changed in thousands of years. I mean, picture an ancient merchant weighing silver in a bustling, dusty market. To be fair, he had to put the exact right stone weight on his literal scales. Now, compare that to a 10-year-old swapping trading cards or sharing snacks on the school playground. The setting is completely different, sure, but the core action, two people agreeing on the value of something and swapping, is exactly the same.
Which brings us to Section 2. What is a false balance? Sneaky tricks and unfair play. A false balance is basically a symbol for all unfair dealing. Imagine that ancient merchant hollowed out his stone weight so it looked really heavy, but was actually light. That's a false balance. He'd be totally cheating his customer while pretending to be totally fair. In our modern world, it's whenever someone uses a low trick to make a trade look equal, when really it's just covetousness, which, by the way, is just a big word for wanting what isn't yours, and pure selfishness. Like, if you tell your friend a common trading card is ultra rare just so they'll give you their actual rare card, yep, you're using a false balance. You're hiding a selfish trick right under the appearance of a fair trade. The text we're analyzing is incredibly strong on this specific point. Even if the temptation to cheat feels like some wicked-faced fallen angel with human features and a priest's tunic whispering in your ear to just bend the rules a little, you absolutely have to resist it. The source clearly contrasts this whispering temptation with the absolute unbending fact that God abhors all selfishness and sneaky tricks. He will not, in the slightest degree, favor those practices. He hates every false way, whether it's happening in a $1 million business deal or a simple game of marbles.
And because of that, here is a crucial takeaway you really need to remember. No bargain is ever made, no debt is ever paid in which God is not concerned. Let that sink in for a second. God does not look away from the playground. He is entirely concerned with every single tiny transaction you make. You can never exclude him from any matter where someone's rights, like your friend's right to a fair trade, are involved. He is always paying extremely close attention.
Let's move right into Section 3, God's invisible shield, the eternal guardian of justice. I absolutely love the imagery from the source material here. Imagine God's hand as this massive, invisible superhero shield spread out over everyone in the whole world. The text tells us that this hand holds the literal sword of justice to protect fairness. It's such a powerful visual. When you are out there trading and playing, there is quite literally an invisible shield of justice covering everyone involved. Now, while that giant shield covers everyone, there are specific people God pays extra close attention to. God commands us to show mercy and goodness toward all people, but he fiercely protects the vulnerable. Historically, in the text, that meant the poor, the widow, and the orphan. But on the playground today, that means the new kid, the younger kids, or anyone who might get easily tricked just because they don't know the rules of the game yet. The text says the Lord will absolutely not approve of those who don't look out for the vulnerable. Actually, pause for a second, because this is where things get really serious. Beware how you deal with others, because the source makes this incredibly profound claim. You cannot wound another person's rights without directly smiting or hitting God's protecting hand. If you use a sneaky trick to take advantage of that younger kid on the playground, you aren't just cheating them. No way. You are literally striking the invisible shield that God has placed over them. That definitely makes you think twice before trying to pull a fast one, right?
All right, let's bring this home with Section 4, actions over words, practical godliness on the playground.
Look, it's super easy to focus on what you say, like going to church, listening to sermons, or saying your beliefs out loud. But the text warns us that what you say is not of half as much consequence as what you actually do. It's all about acting fairly in your temporal affairs, which is just a fancy way of saying your regular everyday business of trading and playing. Your friends and classmates are constantly watching to see if your everyday actions actually match your words.
So, how do we make sure our actions do match? Well, our source gives us a really clear checklist on how to practice practical godliness. Step 1, move slowly and honestly. Don't rush people into bad trades. Step 2, your faith must elevate you above every low trick. Just don't do it. Step 3, look out for the vulnerable. Protect those who might get cheated. If you follow these exact steps, based on strictly Bible principles, the source promises that your light will shine brilliantly in your everyday transactions. And honestly, that is worth vastly more than 100 sermons.
Remember that Proverbs 11 verse about the false balance we started with? Well, here is the second half. A just weight is his delight. Always remember that God actually delights. He literally loves it when you play fair. The text assures us that God will give true prosperity and bless the success of those who are faithful and acquire their wins honestly. When you are a fair trader, you are literally bringing delight to the eternal guardian of justice. How cool is that?
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one absolutely vital question. As you head back out to the playground, the lunchroom, or wherever you're hanging out with your friends today, ask yourself, will your next trade show your light or hide it? Remember, every single transaction is a brand new chance to practice practical godliness and keep fairness alive. Remember that invisible shield. Play by the rules and make your next trade a fair one.